Hey guys, I'm Leeway Crevice. This is of course Vent, and it's time for the year in review. Since I'm ending the show early this year, the series early this year. Alright, let's get to it then, shall we? So 2011 is always going to be remembered as the year of the riots. Alright? I mean, there were the riots in Greece, the riots in London, the riots in the US that happened quite recently. But the main one everyone's going to remember is what was known as Arab Spring. Alright? And that was all the riots in Yemen, in Tunisia, Bahrain, Egypt, and most significantly of all, Libya. Alright, now Egypt and Libya are two very big main ones because they resulted in the removal of the leaders from their positions of power. Alright? And especially in Libya, where it was a spite to get rid of Gaddafi. Alright? Eventually they did, but it took a long time. And there were fights between the supporters and the dissenters. And yeah, it was pretty rough and hard. And heck, they put on for one hell of a fight. Both sides put up one hell of a fight. Eventually, the riders won. Now they've just got to get a leader elected. Alright? And as I said before, Greece had a riot early this year in regards to, I think it was the national debt. And the fact that it's climbing so quickly is unbelievable. The London riots, well, they were interesting. Right, they started off as a riot about the financial conditions of the country and how they were going to reinstate university fees to help combat that. But then the riot just kind of lost all meaning and just spread. And that was scary. Because it just led to a random wave of violence. And of course, like I said, the Wall Street protests that happened recently, they got out of control as well, but it wasn't because of the rioters. It was actually because of the police. Alright? And I've seen all the videos from the rioters' point of view. Well, I've seen some of them. And I do agree. Right? The police are just, during that, were just, they were crazy. It was like, I've got power, I've got mace. Let's combine the two and see what happens. And yeah, things went even crazier than a Westboro Baptist Church picket line. Not that anyone cares about that. All these riots kind of mixed in as well with the natural disasters that happened. And the two major ones, in fact, were the Japanese earthquake and tsunami, which kind of wiped a fair chunk of Japan off the map. Quite literally. Towns were just swept out to sea. And the Fukushima power plants actually melted down. That scared the living daylights out of a lot of people when that happened. This was followed very closely by the Chile volcano that erupted, leaving this giant ash cloud. And it actually affected everyone here in Australia. Alright? This giant ash cloud just kind of appeared on the horizon and yeah, crept a fair distance in actually. And flights of course were grounded for about a week, maybe 2 weeks, while this ash cloud was present. That being said, of course, alright, in the face of all this disaster and anarchy and all that type of stuff, there have been a couple of good things to come out of it. Southern Sudan actually democratically seceded from their northern counterparts. So now the country's actually separated into two. Right? You've got North Sudan and South Sudan now. Right? And as I said before, this was democratically decided, as in the people actually went to the polls and voted. Alright, so now we have another country on the horizon. Give them about 3-4 years and they'll probably join the UN as South Sudan. And I would actually suggest it. Alright, and of course, our ever-great and ever-lovely Prince William and his girlfriend Kate Middleton got married. And if I was to ever pick one event, one good event in the entire year, that would be it. Alright, so now Prince Will and Princess Kate I think they're the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. I think that's what they said. And yeah, they're absolutely lovely in the duchy. As well, we had a few war criminals actually be officially restrained, and I use that word very broadly, especially for one of them. Alright, Ratko Mladic, who we all remember committed war crimes and genocide during, I think it was World War II. I can't actually remember anymore what he actually committed. I reported on it earlier in the year. And Gora Hadzik, again, I can't remember what he did, but they were both arrested this year and were tried in the War Crimes Tribunal. Osama, however, didn't quite get that far, of course. Right? We all remember the US went in, guns blazing, and came out with a bullet-riddled body of Osama. Now, of course, none of us have seen the pics, and none of us ever will. Alright? About the only way we're really going to know what happened to him is if we dive to the bottom of the ocean. Because, of course, you kind of need to bury it within bury a Muslim body within about 48 hours. In line with tradition. That's pretty much all that happened this year. Except, of course, we got to talk about the deaths as well that occurred and pay tribute to those people in the world who actually made the world what it is. Alright? English actor Pete Postlethwaite died early this year. Alright? I remember him from such films and series as Aeon Flux, Romeo and Juliet, of course, and I think there was also a TV series that I saw him in as well, where he actually played a getaway driver who decided to go straight up coming out of jail, which of course he never quite got to do, but what can you do, as they say. Nate Dogg as well, the American rapper, unfortunately died this year. I can't remember how he died. He either died of natural causes or was involved in a shootout. I don't know. I'm not going to look that one up yet. Elizabeth Taylor, of course. She passed on. Her private life was kind of as wild as her public one, so yeah, that got really interesting. Betty Ford, who was once the first lady, of course, to one of the presidents. I think it was President Ford, of course, but then actually had her name associated with the Betty Ford Clinic, which is, of course, a rehabilitation clinic. Alright? And last of all, and this one happened just a couple of days ago, Apple founder and former CEO Steve Jobs. Now, we don't need to go through the list of his achievements. Right? I mean, it started with the Macintosh. Actually, probably started before that, but his big achievement was the Macintosh, and it just kept going through the iMac and into his iLine, is what I'm going to call it. Right? His iMac, his iPad, his iPod, his iTunes, iBook, iPhone. Yes, I was actually kind of surprised they didn't have something called the iThink, which would have been a mind control device. And I think the idea was actually in the pipeline somewhere for the iRack. I'm glad they took it out. So, yeah, we are going to miss Steve Jobs as well, and his genius. Alright guys, that's it for event today, and for this year as well. Alright, now next month, of course, as I said before, we're going to have the 12-month anniversary of the first This Is Not Event video. Alright, where we're actually going to revisit the gallery that I created as a part of that vid. Alright, it has since expanded, of course, so yeah, prepare yourself for a brand new wave of pictures. Okay? And of course next year I'll go through the new lineup of articles and segments. So yeah, hopefully that should turn out pretty well. Alright? Of course, if you want to contribute anything else to the show, you can click on the box here. Alright? If you want to subscribe and keep up to date with anything else that's happening in the world event, you'll find the subscribe button up the top there. Alright? So until then, until next year, sorry, I'm Lee Crevice, this is Ben, and yeah, I'll see you all next year. Keep safe, and I'll see you all there. Bye.